Welcome to the Inverse Method. I'm Stephen Garner. Recalibrate your breathing, recalibrate your life. I'm excited for your transformation. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be well. Rise and shine, everyone. Look at this lovely sunrise. It's beautiful. Sun's barely coming over the horizon, but that light is beautiful. You know, I love to show you these sunrises. Rise and shine, rise and shine. So I wanted to do a quick video about some of the things I wish I would have known when I was transitioning from meat to plants. And I've gone through many transitions from meats to veganism, to raw, and all these different things. And each transition was a little bit different, but the one that was most difficult was the one from meat to plants. And so I want to share some things that I wish I would have known at that time. And what prompted this video is I was on one of our groups last night, and there was a woman at the beginning stages of transitioning from meat to plants, and um, the only thing she uh, felt like she can get protein from, and we can go into what protein is in another video. I want to keep this one short, but the only thing she felt like she can get protein from was beans, like black beans, pinto beans, and whatnot. And this was very heavy on her stomach, bloating, and then also she felt like she wasn't getting enough nutrients, so she was always weak, and she was looking for some alternatives because she's been going back to meat and hasn't been able to make the transition. So for some things I wish I would have known at that point. So I remember earlier in my stage, I actually tried several times as well for different reasons, but it wasn't until I had a health scare, health situation, and that was the thing that really shifted my mind to really focus and 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 give it everything I had. But I do remember the first time I just went cold turkey. I stopped eating meat immediately and went on this 3 or 4 day um, like fast, and this was going to help me make the transition. And I shocked my body. And long story short, I shocked my body, and I had a lot of detox symptoms, um, headaches, you name it. And when I attempted to break my fast, yeah, I did it in an extreme way. I did it by drinking Red Bull because at a certain point the detox symptoms went away and I started to feel great. But I still hadn't changed my way of thinking and and the habits that I had before. So I was moving way too quickly, and I went to break my fast with something like a Red Bull, and shocked my body and got a fever, got urinary tract infection, and it wasn't fun. And so I know that's not going to happen to everybody, but the detox symptoms are real. Now, as I've been living this type of lifestyle for almost 20, not 20, almost 10 years now. Uh, I don't know what made me think of 20. Maybe that's my next milestone. But although I've been living this lifestyle for, almost 10 years now, um, I could see a lot of things that I could have done differently because there are things now that make moving to the next stage easier for me, that makes fasting easier for me, where I move in and out of these phases um, with little to no type of detox symptoms or anything like that whatsoever. Uh, it just feels like another day. So at the beginning, if I was transitioning, one of the things I would have done differently is I would have not done um, as extreme a fast that I did, where I went um, like steamed veggies for a day and then just like water and and then broke it with the Red Bull. I wouldn't have done something extreme like that. I would have done um, a juice fast or a smoothie juice fast or just um, a fruit fast where I ate nothing but juicy, watery fruits for say like a week, and maybe mixed in like some heavier, denser fruits in there, some things that'll kind of satiate the heavy feeling that I was accustomed to having, like avocados or um, what's something else that's heavier. Um, yeah, avocados would be a good example of something heavier that I could eat and feel, satiated. But I would have also been following that up and eating the majority of my food would be stuff like um, watermelons, cantaloupes, honeydew melons, um, blueberries, strawberries. Um, but the melons are really going to give you the most bang for buck because you're getting a lot of water content, and you're paying, you know, two to $6 depending on if you're getting it organic or not, and you're getting this nice huge piece of fruit. Whereas if you go with the berries, you could spend $6 to $8 depending on if they're organic or not, and you really only get a handful. But all things that are watery, rich in antioxidants, and reason being is because um, I later learned that because I was eating so heavy, um, I had a lot of food backed up in my intestines, in my digestive tract, and a lot of plaque built up in my digestive tract. And so when I tried to make the shift, right, several times, I felt like I wasn't getting enough energy, and it's because I wasn't really absorbing any type of liquid content from the food that I was eating. I wasn't accustomed to eating tons of food besides watermelon, and that would be seasonal. That was fully rich in water. The melons I would eat seasonal, but I still was eating a lot of heavy, barbecue and pizza and burgers and fried chicken and things like that. Um, so eating the super rich fruity diet like that, you will start to break up a lot of the food and plaque that's built up in your digestive tract, in your digestive system, and you will start to eliminate a lot of that. Uh, the reason I said I will gradually do it is because when you do it too quickly, then you start to get really intense um, withdrawal symptoms, right, or detox symptoms, and that can be a deterrence for a lot of people. Um, I meet a lot of people who aren't willing to stick it through because it's very uncomfortable. Um, but when we're talking about the fruits and the smoothies and eliminating, starting to break up some of that, the plaque, and loosen up some of the the food and waste that you've had built up over the years in there. I could tell you stories from several different friends and people who I've met who were juicing for weeks and still um, wasn't getting to watery poop. It was still very solid, and they were experiencing. Some of them were experiencing, constipation, even though they were eating fruits or smoothies, um, and they didn't anticipate that. So these are some of the things that you can encounter, and this was something I wish I knew at the time. I would have certainly just indulged on watermelon and all the different melons that I like, and and experience those withdrawal symptoms and those detox symptoms when while I still could put something in my mouth, while I still could eat and still feel satiated. That's a huge part because a lot of times when people are going through the withdrawal symptoms or detox symptoms, they're also fasting and they're not feeling satiated. So that intensifies that feeling even more. So triggering that detox system, the symptoms or the withdrawal symptoms while you're able to eat is huge. It's very huge. It makes that transition for people a lot easier. Now, what also happens too is once you start to break up a lot of the buildup, the waste that you've had in your digestive system, um, you know, from years of eating a heavy diet, you'll start to uh, realize that you really don't need to eat as much. Um, your body's absorbing, nutrients from the food that you eat a lot better. Because when you think about it, and I hope this makes sense for a lot of people, when you're eating heavier foods, your body's having to heat and compress, and it's working a whole lot to maybe absorb a little nutrients. I know now that my body doesn't need much. I certainly wouldn't have believed that back then. I thought I needed a lot, but now, like I experience not needing much, and still do, have a super active lifestyle. On days that I'm fasting, I'm playing basketball, pickleball, hiking, things that I never would have thought possible, close to 10 years ago when I was making this transition. And so, just you'll start to realize you didn't need as much. You don't need as much as you thought you did because you're absorbing so much more at a much more efficient rate. Um, Another thing I wish I would have done, the sun's coming up now, uh, looks beautiful. Uh, Another thing I wish I would have done, I wish I would have known, was I wish I would have done uh, meditation for sure, and qigong also. I was already like heavy into breath exercises, so that certainly helped. But meditation and qigong, coupled with breath exercise, all these things are great sources of energy as you're cleaning your body out. Uh, to give you an example, when you're transitioning from meat to fruit, for a lot of people, the doubt, the misunderstanding, the miseducation, the the disbelief, all of these things are very heavy. There's layers and layers of it because you've lived a certain way your whole life and it seemed to work up until a lot of people reach a certain age and then they instantly kind of end up with a lot of diseases and symptoms and stuff. And it's been creeping up, but they really didn't notice it until a certain age. Um, when you're transitioning from meat to plants, uh, that programming is very strong, it's very intense, and um, is very fear driven too. Um, and so meditation is so huge because when you shift your focus, so one of the key things that happens when you meditate that really empowers you, that I coach a lot of people through so they get a chance to experience this because this particular part, it changes the game for a lot of people. Um, when you learn how to get deeper into a meditation and you start to um, experience your thoughts in a different way, it unleashes a whole lot of energy for you. Or to put it in better terms, you see where you were releasing a whole lot of energy unnecessarily, and you feel it. So, example, say for instance uh, going through a fast, for example, right? And everybody in your family, or friends or relatives, are saying things like, um, that's unhealthy. All the things that were said to me, that's unhealthy. Planting all types of seeds of doubt within your mind. Right now, let's say you add meditation to your routine as you're doing your workup, your build up, and you're learning how to get deeper into meditation. Now all of a sudden, like you have these same thoughts, right? But now these thoughts are being evaluated through your experience, right? And so now maybe you're like, okay, in meditation, maybe you have that fear, all right? Like, okay, this is dangerous. Fasting is dangerous. Will I survive? So forth and so on. But then through meditation, all of a sudden it'll come to you like, oh wow, like I, all right. So when I'm sleeping, that's, let's say 8 hours, right? When I'm sleeping, that's 8 hours. I don't eat. Um, maybe I slept late sometimes, and that was maybe 12 hours I didn't eat. And then I got up and went and met up with a friend, and we were supposed to get something to eat, but we hung out, we laughing and joking, we did this, we did that. Um, that was another, you know, say 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours I didn't eat, and without even thinking about it, wow, I almost done 24 hours before. Okay, so I could do 24 hours, and that's not dangerous at all. I felt fine. All right, so Uh, so in meditation, you get to stop focusing on the stimulation outside of you, and that attention shifts to your own experience. And what happens is you start to uh, question your own programming, and you start to point out and pinpoint the flaws in your own programming. Now, this is like so huge because when you pinpoint the flaws in your programming from your own experience, man, the amount of energy you store is so huge because you realize how much energy you were giving out, entertaining um, all of the fear. That doesn't mean people may not have some valuable suggestions, but you know from your own experience now, all right, I've heard it, I'm not going to ruminate on it, but when I go and sit with myself, um, I could see through my own experience how much validity this holds for me. This frees up so much energy in your life. Um, and when you're doing something like a fast or a transition, this simple thing, meditating, um, man, it would have changed the game for me like so much sooner, way back when. And I do it now for everything in my life. I sit with every thought, every experience, no matter what type of transition I'm going through, um, because your environment does programming. And the game is to be aware of that, and learn how to uh, discern these programs um, in real time. And so, uh, as you're transitioning from one stage to another, like that's a superpower, especially from meat to plants. Now, breath exercises. We know heavy breathing or deep breathing, I should say, in particular ways can increase oxygen flow. I'm not even doing it through qigong, so I'm not going to even say something really intense like a Wim Hof, but that definitely gives you a quick burst in just a matter of minutes. But also doing qigong, doing yoga, these things also enriches your blood with oxygen. That's energy. It's energy, and you'll feel more awake, more alive. You'll realize you're not lacking for any energy, and you'll be able to separate the feeling, the discomfort of an empty stomach from not actually having energy, because you'll experience what energy feels like on an empty stomach. And then all of a sudden, having an empty stomach doesn't bother you in the same way. You'll just breathe through it. And you'll notice the sensation, the empty stomach starts to soothe. You'll realize you're not losing any energy, or if you are earlier in those stages, you'll realize energy will come back. So all of these things were game changers. Or game changers. I wish I would have known while I was transitioning. Now, some key things to remember too is there's a unique aspect to this for every person. So because everybody's had different circumstances in their lives, um, and um, everybody's environment isn't exactly the same. Um, Everybody weighs something different. Everybody's eating habits are slightly different. So there's going to be unique aspects to this for every person. So keep that in mind. And if um, transition feels too intense, um, get some help. Like, don't try and suffer through it. A lot of people hurt themselves that way because the most dangerous phase of this, in my experience, is transitioning from meat to plants. Once I got over that hurdle, the transition from plants to fruits and then just more cleaner raw diets, fasting regularly, all of those things became a lot easier. It was very clear to me that most of what I was experiencing was psychological and not really experiencing much discomfort or a lack of energy within the body. And if I did, it was very clear. And I took care of myself appropriately. And then I started again. And so there's no need to beat up on yourself. There's no need to suffer or force the issue. You can be patient with yourself. You can be persistent. You can strategize. You can come up with a plan. You can test things out, see what's working for you, see what gets you further. But the tips that I shared today, I wish I would have known those because those would have um, made my transition a lot easier. And the meditation is key. That mental part, right? Challenging the program that you already have. It doesn't mean that everything about what you know is false, but you will start to pinpoint the holes in it, and that creates new possibilities for you. And if you're not acknowledging those possibilities in your life, then you have no idea what or who you really can become. So I hope this was helpful, like always. I'm enjoying this beautiful sunrise, and I'm happy to be here with you all. And may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be well. Let me see if I can catch the sunrise for you. It's over the horizon right now. Let's see what it looks like. A little bit of a glare, but it's beautiful. All right, enjoy your day.